All right, well, welcome everyone to another session of our World Ranger Day Festival. This is the first year of this festival, and it's already been an incredible ride so far, speaking with organizations and rangers all over the world. So we thank everybody for joining us, supporting us, and helping us give recognition to the passionate and brave rangers all over our planet. So we're going to take a little bit of a different event today. We're heading to South Africa, and we're going to talk a little bit about training of rangers. So it's really important that rangers have proper training before they get out into the field to deal with the many challenges and complications and different scenarios they could encounter. So really excited. We've got Altin joining us live today. Altin, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, Joe, and yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a great day today, and the festival is going really, really well. It's a pleasure to have you joining us. And I think the best spot to start is maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more detail about your job.
Thank you, Joe. My name is Altin Gysman. I'm originally from the Eastern Cape, but I'm currently working in Limpopo in the Kruger National Park at the Southern African Wildlife College. My appointment is Head of Protected Area Integrity, where I'm in charge of the boots on the ground, which is the training facility of all field rangers, and then I'm also supervising the K9 section as well as the air wing, which is the operational part. For us is focusing on protected area integrity, where we do assessments for reserves, we do the training for reserves, and we also ensure that the field rangers that goes out from our college is of a very good standard, that they can make sure that they can do their task at hand. Thank you very much.
All right, excellent. And you know, I'm always curious about how people get into their line of work. So, what led you to be doing what you're doing today?
Joe, from my side, I think my interest for law enforcement started when I joined the military in 1993, the South African military, and I always strive to make a difference. And at this current stage in my second career in conservation law enforcement, my main focus is to encourage young field rangers to be enthusiastic in what they are doing. I also have a passion for leadership and to work with people. So as I can say that law enforcement is my main focus.
All right. And then, so, you know, rangers come for training. Are they in country, like South Africa, or from all over Africa?
We are a SADC institution, so we are actually training rangers from all over. We also go to other SADC countries to present the training on site within their parks and reserves. So we are not just based at the Southern African Wildlife College, but we have a footprint that we want to develop within SADC. But we also go to other international countries like India, Myanmar, and other institutions that want us to come and do training. So we are not just based in SADC, but we are also spreading our wings further.
All right, that's great. I love that collaboration and working together with rangers around the world. That's awesome. Training, I mean, it's definitely of interest, I think, to people who are tuning in. When someone comes to the college, what's the length of training? Is it a set amount, or does it depend on maybe what they're studying? If they're part of the air wing or K9 unit, does the training vary?
The training vary very much because we are focusing on field ranger training in specific. For us, we have a 6 weeks law enforcement armed course, which we have rifle training for 1 week. We also have a field ranger law enforcement unarmed course, which is a 5-week course, where there is no firearms training, but we focus on environmental monitors. So these guys within the parks or reserves concentrate mostly on the softer side of conservation, and not just paramilitary or law enforcement side. And then we also have further skills, which is Field Ranger Advanced, where the Field Rangers advance themselves in tactical skills. We also have Patrol Leaders, where we teach the Field Rangers that have some leadership skills to develop themselves. We also have some tracking skills, and then protected area security operations. With regards to occupational directed training, we have the Braveheart Ranger Leadership course that was recently developed, and we're starting to roll it out this year in full scale. We also have human rights training in conservation, and then we have the CASA Customs training for frontline officers. So this is just in broad what we are presenting and what courses we offer at the Southern African Wildlife College.
Yeah, that's great. Do you often see rangers coming back at different parts, different times in their career for different training?
Yes, because we have progressive training that is actually developmental. We see rangers coming for basic training, then progressing to advanced training, progressing to field ranger training. And when they become managers, they do now protected area security operations. When they are identified as future leaders, they come for the Braveheart leadership course. And nowadays, a lot of reserves and parks focus on human rights training. So human rights training is a very good subject that is now in the conservation space. And yes, we see them coming back and back and back just to improve their careers.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's great. So, I think this will probably be an easy question to answer, but, why do you think it's so important to be protecting these wild spaces and the animals found within them?
If I can say to you, we have a principle in the College of Inclusive Conservation. Now, with inclusive conservation, we cover the field ranger training, we cover the anti-poaching, we cover the support staff, we cover the communities, we cover the scientists. And for me as a person, I am also looking at the biodiversity, specifically when it comes to threatened and high-value species. And for me, it's also for encouragement that we must conserve and preserve for future generations, and also for tourism within our country. And that is why it's for me important to protect the environment, and specific the animals that is in the parks and the reserves.
All right, good stuff. Well, it's not an easy job being a ranger, and I imagine there's a lot that you have to think about in your position on the training side of things. So I'm wondering, what are some of the challenges that you encounter in your career?
I think for us as field rangers, the biggest crisis is the poaching crisis that we are currently experiencing. So it actually put the life of the rangers in danger. And also the vast areas to protect the animals within the protected areas. And for the mere fact that we are very little resourced, and we have very little manpower within this in the reserves. So that is the main challenges that I think that we are currently confronted of. I can also say budgetary constraints, which is also funding, which is also a challenge in our environment, since that we work on sponsorship and donors that is sponsoring students, because of the fact that we are a non-governmental organization.
Yeah, it really speaks to the character of the rangers that even with all those challenges, funding and equipment, the danger of dealing with poachers, they're still so dedicated to their job and so passionate about it, and happy to be out in the community and educating and just being there. So it's a real credit to the rangers.
Yes, that is very much true. You should have seen, actually today we had a World Ranger Day at the college, and you should have seen the passion of all these rangers from different countries giving speeches, giving tribute to the heroes, the fallen heroes, and the current heroes that is currently within the field. So they are doing a very, very good job. And I think that they need to get a recognition that they perform in the field.
Absolutely. The front line of protecting our biodiversity all over the planet.
So,
okay, so we kind of touched on this a little bit about education. So in what you do you find yourself ever out in the community in kind of an educator role, or do you help prepare some of the rangers to take on that role as an educator in the community?
Okay, on my part at the field ranger base, I can say yes. One of our college's 4-tier approach legs is community development, and I myself, as the manager of the ranger courses, make sure that when I have bursaries, I include the local communities, and by that I'm educating them that they can go out and that they can spread the message of conservation to the local communities. I cannot provide them job, but I know that I've instilled some things in them that they can take it and take it over to the communities. So we have a community-based department within the college that is specifically working very close to communities. But in my field ranger department, I encourage community participation by means of my bursaries that I'm giving the field rangers. And for us, we're teaching the field rangers to be first a law enforcer, secondly to be a communicator, and then thirdly to be an educator. So each and every field ranger that is doing our course must go out and be an educator.
All right, excellent. I love to hear that. It's so important, not only to speak to the community, but really to speak to the youth, because they're going to be that next generation, and the stewardship of the land is going to be in their hands. So that's great. It's so great to be reaching that next generation. So it hasn't been an easy year and a half. I don't think it's been easy for any ranger organization with COVID, and I'm wondering how that maybe changed things at the college. Did the courses slow down a little bit, or did you have to modify the training for the rangers to kind of take that into account? How did COVID impact the college?
COVID have impacted the college very, very much because we had to go to a capacity of 50%, where we usually train in a good year 1,000 rangers. Last year, we only trained 500 rangers. So we came down in totals tremendously. Within the parks and reserves, with some research that we are doing, the parks are currently working on a 50% capacity. So they also cover less areas within the areas of responsibility. And even some parks with the members over 50 or the members with comorbidity had to work from home. So it made the compromise the security within the parks. But nevertheless, the rangers still went on and do their work diligently and professionally to ensure that there is no poaching within the area. And then also many staff lost their jobs due to the economy and the financial status of the reserves because of downscaling and because of the tourism industry that was very much impacted by COVID-19. And if I can say to you, in the college also, we felt the brunt with regards to being not having training, and the borders that is closing, and we cannot go and do training in other countries. So yes, it did impact us a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine, and I hope that we'll start to see maybe a light at the end of the tunnel, and borders to open in hopefully the near future, and being able to get out there and do some more of that training, and yeah, absolutely, and get those numbers back up to 1,000 rangers coming through each year, because it is such an important job that the rangers are doing.
Yes, that is indeed.
Yeah, so you've obviously had a very interesting career from the military through to what you're doing now. So it's one thing to talk about challenges, but it's always nice to hear about successes, no matter how big or how small. So I'm wondering if there something that stands out to you, a story or a time that felt like a big success, or something you were really proud of.
Okay, Joe, if I can describe to you the feeling after every course, after every ranger course, either 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, with everything that we are presenting, it's always that feeling of pride or of proudness within the field rangers if you can see them at a passing out parade in what the instructors have instilled in them, the discipline, the character, the uniformity, the spirit within the rangers. So each and every course end is my encouragement and my pride that I can say, go out to the world, go and protect the animals, go and make us proud as trainers of the Wildlife College. And then also from my side also is when I have community students and after the end of the course, there is some organizations or parks or reserves that say, come, we have a job for them. So then I know that I haven't had an impact in conservation. I have an impact on conservation guardianship, and I had an impact on the protection of the biodiversity.
Yeah, and that is so important. Knowing that there's a job, a means of income to support family, welfare, and health. So welfare is a big issue with rangers, and having that job and that support in the community, I imagine, really helps them focus on the work that they're doing when they don't have to worry about the welfare of their family. Yeah. All right. Well, another question that I think, hopefully we're, at some stage turning the page on COVID, and we'll have to think about, what rangers need going forward. So what resources? Is it more funding? Is it tourism? Is it recognition? What do you think are some of the main things that rangers need going forward to kind of move away from the last year and a half?
Joe, from my side, I think that as managers of parks and reserves, we need to focus to have the ranger at the right time, at the right place with the right equipment to resource them that they can be able to do their job. Then secondly, for us is to train more rangers to cover more areas within the protected areas. And just today, I had a very good feeling when the new Ranger Code of Conduct were read out, which was this year promulgated by the International Ranger Federation. So for the rangers to just uplift themselves, be proud in the Code of Conduct, and just lift the Code of Conduct. Then maybe lastly from my side, and I think this is one thing that we need to look into is ranger wellness, and then also resilience of rangers. You have just said now that rangers don't need to worry about their families whilst they are on duty. Rangers need to be looked after. Rangers need to be shown that they are a professional corps and that they do have a place within the society. So if we can look in that whole package for a proper professional ranger in the future, I think we will do something good. With regards to funding, we are always depending on funding, and we are always looking forward for organizations to sponsor us for ranger training. And then my acknowledgement goes out to all the organizations that is sponsoring the Southern African Wildlife College for training that we present. It keeps us going. It keeps us making a difference in the conservation environment. And then it will also improve tourism within South Africa, within the parks and within the reserves. And that is my answer that I can give to you.
All right. Excellent. You talked about those proud moments, the look on the faces of the rangers as they're graduating, and how much it means to them. So I wonder, do you often hear back? Do you get updates from some of the students about, what they've been up to and yeah.
Okay, Joe, we also work in a follow-up system where we get feedback from the reserve managers, from the park managers on how the guys are progressing. And also some of that proud moments, which I haven't mentioned, is when the successes is sent to us. Photos of successes of poachers, photos of successes of weapons, photos of successes where they got snares and things. So that is the proud moments. Even when the K9 unit goes out into operation and there's a success where they get poachers and weapons and things. So that is part of the success story. We might not make an immediate difference in alleviating all the protected areas from poaching, but we are moving closer and closer, step by step, to make this difference.
No question. Every snare removed, every poacher, caught and weapons taken away is a huge step. So, Altin, it was such a pleasure to connect with you today and to learn a little bit more about the training at the college. And yeah, I mean, I hope one day I get to see one of those graduations, because it just sounds like just a really incredible moment to see, so much work that's gone into it, so much dedication, and everybody's so excited to get back and start contributing in their communities and protecting Africa's wildlife. And I mean, around the world, when you get to travel and train with other units. So, Altin, what a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you, Joe. You are more than welcome to come and visit us at the Southern African Wildlife College and come and experience.
All right, amazing. Well, Altin, have a great rest of the day, and thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Joe.